So whenever I was about in my 20s, I actually started my own company. I was working at a place where we were hosting events and I was managing the building, and I would help so many of my clients. So I would help them with like planning their weddings and planning their conferences and things along those lines. And it was really exciting. I love the work, and people kept saying, "Oh, you could do this. You should start a business," right? And so I started my own company, and when I started my own company, I just jumped out there. I quit my job and I started. I had two whole clients, right, that were paying me, and I was, working with them and doing a really great job on the delivery part of the business. But what happened was that even though I knew how to write business plans at that point, I had been helping people write business plans all the time up until that point. For some reason, I was like, I got it all in my head. Have you ever felt like that? You're like, oh, I got it in my head, right? And I was like, oh, I don't need to write a plan. I got it. I understand it. And so I did not write my business plan, and I quit my job and I started this company. And the part that got me was at that time, I was very, very shy. And so doing what I'm doing right now would have terrified me at that time of my life. And so it was really hard for me to do stuff like this, public speaking, but it was also hard for me to do things like sales. And because of that, I ended up actually I ended up not selling. And if in business, like you guys know, if you don't sell, you don't eat. It's a major part of what we do in our companies. Every day we need to reach out to clients. We have to try to connect. We have to tell them what we're doing. And so I was afraid to network. I was afraid to connect with people. And so I ended up losing everything. Like I lost my home, I lost my car. I remember the morning that my son comes in and he's yelling, "Mommy, mommy, somebody stole our car." And I'm looking out the window and I see the tire tracks where someone they didn't steal it. They came and got their car. And I had to find him a ride to school that morning. And he was home the other day and we were laughing about that. But it was so interesting. I ended up having to drop out of school. It was this whole thing. And at the end of the day, if I had done the exercise that we're doing today, then I would not have had that problem. And the reason is that if I had counted the cost, as one of my favorite books says, I would have known that in the event planning business, you might have a bride that books with you in August, right? And they give you a down payment. Well, unless you're on a payment plan, you're not going to get any more money from them to pay your fees until a couple of weeks before the event, and for some event planners, the day of. So if the wedding isn't until February, that's a lot of months where you're working hard, but you don't have any funds coming in. And so I think that when you do the cash flow and when you do the sales projections, what that does is it makes you think about a lot of different factors, which we'll discuss tonight, which demonstrate, when are these funds coming in? What can I do with it? And it helps you to be able to make sure that you're running your business as efficiently as possible. And I'm going to give you some really, really good examples of how that might work in companies like yours. And so this class actually means a lot to me, because if I don't do anything else for my companies, whenever I start them, and I'm like a serial entrepreneur, I love to be able to come up with ideas and get different projects going. I'm going to do the cash flow. I'm going to do the break even, the cash flow, and the sales projections. I'm going to know how many do I need to sell to be able to meet my cost and all of those kind of things, because that part is really important. So I learned from that. And just to close that circle up, it took me about 6 years after that to try entrepreneurship again. And when I did, I actually ended up starting this company where I do the training and working with entrepreneurs. And we celebrated 10 years this year. And so really excited, but I did it that a different way. I allowed my business to take me from full-time to part-time on my job, and then from part-time to just having to finally walk away and choose to go all in on the business. So that's kind of a little bit of my story, but that's why this is so important. It's a real life example of about how what you all are investing in your companies tonight by learning how to do a cash flow can actually be the thing that can help you to make the right decisions and also help you to have realistic goals whenever it comes to your different revenue streams and things like that. It's a beautiful thing to do, and I'm glad that you guys are here for it. What do you guys think of that? Any questions, or what do you think? What are your thoughts?
For me, I appreciated that because